for the week of November 16th. If you'd like to see the pictures in picture and comment or ask any questions about the reading, please go to my YouTube and you can see the picture in picture so you can see the cards in action over there. It's been a rough week for a lot of us. I've been getting feedback. Myself have had some little adventures. If you've been paying attention to that, it hasn't been very fun. But here we go. Let's get started and get some answers for Cancer and see what energy is coming up for you. Uh-oh. Let's turn that off. Ups and downs is what this last week seems to have been all about. All right, here we go, kids. This is for you. Three of Swords is the first thing that comes up. Three of Swords is the card I always say is the one that pops up when we have Mercury retrograde because it feels like miscommunication. And it's interesting, we do have a lot of Mercury energy going on right now from some of the astrology channels I've been watching. And what that tells us is communication is involved, right? The communication of the self, communication with others. But the Three of Swords is our card for miscommunication or just heartbreak in the fact that you can't get through to someone or that they're not listening to you. We do have the Three of Wands in the center at the top of the reading there in that back row. And it talks to us a little bit about feeling under pressure. If you look here, there's these this dragon flying forward into these three wands, and beneath them are all these flames. And what happens is the hot seat is how this feels. Like maybe you're not feeling subjected to questioning by others, but there is this feeling of, you know, feeling exposed, or that people might have something or an opportunity to talk about something that makes us feel a little caged, guarded a little bit. And it sometimes makes us feel as if, you know, we don't want to share or be vulnerable or exposed to anyone. So we turn to a hermit. And the hermit isn't necessarily a bad place for us to be. Now, the first thing that comes to mind when people experience the hermit card or they see the hermit card is they automatically assume it means loneliness. And the hermit isn't necessarily about loneliness. It's about isolation in some respects. But if you think about those times when you were ill, when you were studying, when you felt after a breakup, even like when you felt like you just needed to not have any input, not have any audience. And I think that's one of the things that people tend to think immediately, that there's depression going on because we isolate. And sometimes we really just need a moment to recalibrate, right? And to utilize some quiet space to get back on track. And so what we do is, and then there's this pattern that we have where we're so used to being isolated, or, you know, we don't want to burden others, because truth be told, I heard, you know, an expression that we are all going through this. We are all going through this. It's the same storm, different boat. But what's true is when we isolate, we, you know, I don't want to say that it's like misery makes good company. It's not that at all. But my best friend has a saying. She's like, I don't want platitudes. Hi, how are you? Fine, thank you. She's always like that. I don't want to be a platitude in your life. If it's hard, I want to hear it, even if I can do nothing about it. And it's not that we want to be in this together kind of thing. Like, what is it? Thelma and Louise, we're not going off the cliff together, right? It's really more all about just being able to articulate what's going on and being real and authentic with people, because the trap here is that we're letting other people think that things are perfect and we're shining our Instagram favorite and our Facebook best, right? So that we don't have any, you know, first of all, we don't like to see ourselves fail, let alone have anyone else see that. And sometimes our reputations are on the line, or embarrassment is a factor. But the hermit doesn't have to be about chaos, right? It can just be a phase of healing. Personally, I've been going through a month of in and out of the hospital. And so I go quiet mostly because I can't articulate when I'm not feeling myself. And so, you know, you can go into that trap of pushing people further away and going deeper into that spot. However, I'm not saying that this is depression for you. I feel like it's isolation. And like I said, the hermit is about education and knowledge. If you look at the monks of old, they would go into silence and meditate and receive just unbelievable amounts of leaps and bounds spiritually. Not many of us have that liberty in this phase of matrix and the way that we live in society nowadays. We don't have very many minutes alone at all, let alone months, years, days, even moments to meditate and go into that quiet place. But what I am seeing for you is this is a financial issue that's on your mind. I'm seeing the Queen of Coins, where it's like, I need to master this and get this together. Next to that, we're seeing the Knight of Coins, which is impulsive behavior, or it feels like you're starting over. Sometimes a knight, I want you to think of the ages. As I teach tarot, I like to share these little pearls. The court cards within a tarot deck doesn't always have to be about male or female. Sometimes they're about personality. pages are really young teenagers that are just super excited and clueless, but the knights have a tendency to be just a little more bold and a little more reckless. Sometimes you hit the mark, sometimes you don't. So the Knight of Coins is like, have I been reckless with my money? I don't want to start over. Or feeling as if you're new. This would be, I don't care if you're the CEO of Google and then you're the CEO of Facebook and you transfer, it's still the beginning of something and you're still the new guy. So maybe there's some either rookie mistakes that you've made, or you feel as if you're starting over or having to look at things in a new way. I see the 10 of Coins, which is black and white. Everything is, hi Angela. Everything is black and white to you right now, and you feel like not exactly like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, but definitely a little bit of overwhelm. You've got some things to accomplish and it feels like a lot of dominoes have to line up for you. You have the 10 of Wands, which is anxiety. So you're allowing, this is overwhelm. Really, it is nothing more than overwhelm. You're really looking for a change in your life. There's a lot of intensity that's going on with this phase for you. And so the Chariot card has to do with a move. So for some of you, this might indicate a move or travel outside of the country. That's not unlikely. We've got the holidays, so we're going to consider this the center of the bingo card, right? Where it's like, we already know we got that center one. So travel is likely for some Cancer people out there. I want to also tell you that, you know, you're very emotional lately. We have the Queen of Cups and the Two of Cups. Queen of Cups is mastery, feeling overly emotional. And I really despise the fact that just using the word emotional is a negative word. It's like a 4-letter word. You're so emotional. But what's true is we all are emotional. Men and women express it differently. I like to joke around about the men that do the 4-day pout, the door slamming, the video gaming, the not coming home right after work. It's still emotions, whatever way you display it. But the Queen of Cups is feeling that overabundance of emotions within our body that we feel like we have to move. We also see the Two of Cups. So this is love. So some of you have some overwhelming energy with love or relationships that you're worried about how this outcome is going to be. But what's interesting for you is you also have the Empress. There's a lot of major cards in here for you. Hold on, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major cards for you for this week. And this might be the beginning. We're coming into, you know, the Scorpio and Sagittarius energy. It's all this transformation. You do have the Death card, and following it, the Strength. What the Strength card has to say, sometimes it can allude to medical issues, but mostly it has to do with wisdom, right? Moving in from phases of uncertainty into wisdom. And so we have the Death card, which is transformation. It's being able to transform what's in front of you into something so much better. And I think that's your goal based on the Empress being in place. So the Empress is our card for mastery, control of feminine, and being able to protect. This is a very loving and powerful energy. And this is, you know, the divine feminine is rising on up, and it's a beautiful thing to see. But the Empress also talks to us about time. You cannot pick an apple until the tree has grown completely and the fruit has bloomed and it's perfect in its season. So don't rush things is a little bit of what that's saying. And so the fact that time seems to be slowing down, we do feel isolated. We feel like the Three of Swords is miscommunication all the time, feeling on the hot seat, exposed, etc. A lot of these feelings have us pulling back, but you have one more card, the Star card, which is hope. This is us looking for humanitarian kind of grouping together and tribal feelings and looking for connection. And, you know, how can we do things to affect globally, like our family, our workplace? How can we make a global change to make things more smooth and supple, and we're able to malleable, able to move with us? So wisdom, operate from a place of wisdom. I also might possibly see some money coming your way. If you're expecting a chunk of change to come and you were worrying about it, the answer would be a yes. It's going to come your way. I'm going to pull some cards from Mystic Dreamer and do a Cancer moon reading. For those of you that are Cancer moon out there, if you are not, please just listen anyway. The message might be good for you for Cancer. And this is how you're emotionally feeling. So let's pull a card for you, some cards for you, and see what this looks like. If you want to book your one-on-one, karmaondeck.com. Also for coaching, spiritual mentorship. If you want some really amazing meditation tricks, you want to learn tarot, a little bit of Reiki that you can use at home, whatever, we will get you handled. First thing that I'm seeing again, so overall, even though your general spread and your moon reading are different, there is some very specific themes in here. The center of your reading, again, is your congruency card, which is the Three of Swords. Now, this might not be miscommunication, right? Because we talked about the Three of Swords being miscommunication. It might not be others communicating with you. It might be that you aren't able to communicate. Like, I know personally, when I get overwhelmed, There's too much going on in my head for me to articulate. And so what ends up happening is I just clam up and my eyes get all big because I'm like, I don't know. So because it's just so hard to move the energy through, right? Our throat chakra and out into the world. So if you can't communicate directly with individuals that you feel you need to, write it out. Write it out, and some people burn it, put it in the fire, and let it just go into the cosmos. At least release it from the DNA and the psyche. So what I am seeing though is this indecision. You have the Two of Pentacles. You're undecided about what direction to take with things. The Justice card is in play, which means consequences for everything are heavy on your mind. Again, you have the Hermit card. We have the Eight of Swords, which is drama. So there's an overwhelm. Again, that's the same one you had earlier with that Wands card in the center of your general spread, was like overwhelm. But the Eight of Swords is too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen, overwhelmed drama. You just don't want to add any more to the soup, so to speak. I would say that give yourself the gift of rest, because you have the Nine of Wands, which is a fatigue a little bit, feeling as if you've got a little too much on your plate. And again, here's that Six of Wands, which talks about money coming your way, indicator number 2. So my recommendation is to come from a place of authority. Know what it is that you want. What is it I saw last night on the movie 10 Rings?